have global Tzu Chi volunteers hold the first aid distribution in the Philippines Tunga in the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan. We take a look at how Durban Tzu Chi volunteers in South Africa care for the HIV/AIDS patients and orphans. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Mia. Thank you for joining us. We kick off the show in the Philippines. On December 1st, local Tzu Chi volunteers joined their counterparts from Taiwan, the United States, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore to successfully carry out the first aid distribution in Tunga. The disaster survivors were overjoyed to receive blankets, mosquito nets, straw mats, and other daily necessities from Tzu Chi. In the village of Tunga in Philippines Lake Province, as Tzu Chi volunteers lead the villagers in prayer, many couldn't hold back their tears because after enduring much hardship, help has finally come.
No other organization has held a distribution here in Tunga. It has mostly been in Tacloban and Omak, so we felt the need to come here and help them out.
Blankets, mosquito nets, straw mattresses and rice brought temporary relief to the affected survivors.
We are so thankful for your help.
Led by local volunteers, those with disabilities are reassured by the relief supplies.
You asked me if I am happy. I am extremely happy.
What's out?
My home was washed away, but everybody is safe and sound. I am grateful for the assistance Tzu Chi provided us.
No, this is the first time. We have typhoon also before, but it's not that disastrous like this. We are very thankful that you came to us. You gave us your donations, the relief and goods.
The main architect behind this distribution in Tunga is Manila Tzu Chi volunteer Ling Guorong, who oversaw tasks from getting residents to the distribution site to liaising with the volunteers to even managing sound control at the venue.
As the volunteers I brought are all newly joined volunteers, we have experienced some slight hiccups, so I have to make sure that the distribution goes smoothly.
With a combined effort of Tzu Chi volunteers from 6 countries, more than 1,800 families received Tzu Chi's aid. And for the first time since the typhoon, residents' hearts are ignited with hope. To help the Philippines Tacloban city recover from Typhoon Haiyan, Tzu Chi managed to bring in 25 heavy-duty vehicles over the weekend. Tzu Chi's Cash for Work program has also helped clean up the city's 4 districts. Next, we'll give you a bird's-eye view of Tacloban.
Heavy machinery continues to clear away mountains of debris in the Philippines' Tacloban city. As Tzu Chi's Cash for Work program reached its 12th day, 2 of the city's districts have now been cleaned up.
The whole city of Tacloban has suffered serious devastation. It is the hardest hit among the 3 hard-hit areas. We have already started a citywide cleanup campaign.
Tzu Chi has designated 7 areas in the city to implement its Cash for Work cleanup effort. Thus far, work has been completed in Leyte Progressive High School and Annabong Elementary School. Over the past 2 days, heavy equipment has been hard at work in the Santo Nino Shrine and Jasmine Square and will begin work along the coastline on Monday.
We hope to establish another service station somewhere along the coastline so that residents over there can join those living on the city's main streets, and together they can clear a path along the city's alleyways to help the city's traffic conditions.
After traveling across the ocean for 17 hours, the new equipment finally arrived. These 25 cargo trucks, 2 large loaders, and 1 excavator have been brought in by Tzu Chi to expedite the cleanup progress. The equipment, which have all been carefully chosen, was put to work starting Sunday.
We cannot operate machinery that ride on steel belts, only those on wheels, otherwise the concrete surface of the roads will be ruined. This is our trade, so we know what kind of equipment we can and cannot use.
Yang Guoying, who is from Manila, borrowed the machinery from his friends. The equipment operators also volunteered themselves to help with the relief effort.
lahat. Maraming salamat po.
I have friends who are in the mining business, so I borrowed these from them. It's their off-season now, so they were willing to lend them to us.
The shipping company responsible for transporting the equipment is also volunteering its service, for it knows the importance of the mission.
The captain says he knows well that his mission is to help people. This is already his second trip. We gave him a Tzu Chi flag to hang on his ship the last time. We now call this the Tzu Chi ship.
The sight of these 25 heavy vehicles drew the attention of the nearby Japan disaster relief team, as valuable information is exchanged between both sides. Hopefully, Tacloban will soon return to its former glory.
Under Tzuji's Cash for Work program, Tacloban city streets and rivers are slowly returning to normal. TIMA members held a free clinic and makeshift tents to safeguard the health of residents, while some learned how to reciprocate Tzuji's love. Volunteers also began to provide hot meals not only to warm hearts, but to raise spirits as well.
In Tacloban City, Philippines, Tzuji's medical free clinic is held in a makeshift tent on the street, giving tetanus vaccinations to residents in need. Nico Okino lost his mother and two sisters to Typhoon Haiyan, yet he sets his emotions aside to participate in Tzuji's Cash for Work program to help his father and surviving family rebuild. The hard-hit areas are really cleaning up well due to the program's success. And now Tzu Chi volunteers are able to provide enough hot meals for residents to fill up their stomachs.
Although I'm sleep deprived and losing my voice, I'm quite enjoying seeing the survivors smile as they receive our relief supplies. It makes what we do every day worthwhile.
Tzu Chi songs are no longer unfamiliar, and instead of posters asking for help, it's a banner expressing residents' gratitude. What's more surprising is the quickness of the locals' response to the legendary story of Tzu Chi's bamboo coin bank. Upon hearing about it in the morning, by the time they were calling it a day later in the afternoon, each participant had a makeshift coin bank to donate.
These people are so automatic. Maybe that's what we say, that the goodness of people is very innate among all. They gathered themselves as a group and prepared one pet bottle and gathered their donations to all of us.
Although the disaster brought much damage, it also brought about a new beginning, as there is always light at the end of the tunnel.
The three water purification systems developed by the Tzu Chi Foundation and the Taiwan Industrial and Technology Research Institute have finally reached Tacloban City of the Philippines. With the water purification system fully operational, local residents will no longer have to worry about the quality of their drinking water.
Gulping down the water, this local resident says this water couldn't taste any better.
Walang pinagkaiba sa natural na lasa.
This water is so refreshing, it tastes really good and pure, so I drank half a bottle.
Papasalamat kami sa tulong po ninyo. Malaking tulong to na binigay nyo sa amin.
In the wake of the typhoon, while water supplies have been restored and the turbidity of the water has returned to normal levels, floods in the disaster areas may have polluted the water pipes. To help, Tzu Chi Foundation transported 3 water purification systems to Tacloban. With the help of the Industrial Technology Research Institute of Taiwan, the water is treated and now meets drinking water standards.
The turbidity of the water is already at that 0.3 NTU level. The turbidity of local water sources seem okay, except the bacteria contained in the water may induce sickness, so it's not safe to drink before it has been purified.
Once the water is purified, does it then make it safe to drink? Let's do a comparison between bottled water and our treated water.
After testing, the turbidity of the bottled water was 0.28 NTU, which is similar to the filtered water. However, the two taste vastly different.
Mineral water has a very distinctive taste, so we found that processed water in fact tastes better than bottled water.
With these water purification systems, residents can consume water with peace of mind. However, as resources are scarce in the disaster areas, installing the water filter systems was a very tricky task. The biggest challenge was finding barrels for holding the water.
During times of disaster, people always rush out to purchase barrels to store water. We had to turn to local friends and ask them to try to find as many as possible for us.
Each water purification system can filter 5 tons of water each day, and Tzu Chi has installed these water purification systems in 3 areas around Tacloban, providing residents with readily drinkable water.
In the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, many Tzu Chi volunteers from across the globe traveled to the disaster zone to help. In our next report, let's meet Tzu Chi volunteer Luo Meizhu, who has been in charge of cooking hot meals and organizing home visitations in the disaster zone, and Tzu Chi volunteer Zhang Qingwen, who has been using his camera to document the volunteers' effort in helping the disaster survivors. In spite of the differences in race and faith, everyone prays sincerely together for a world free of disasters. At this moment, many disaster survivors can't help but shed tears of sadness.
When we hand out the consolation cash, we will bow to the recipient and say thank you. It feels like we are bringing hope to them.
Through capturing images of the volunteers' effort in helping the disaster survivors, Tzu Chi volunteer Zhang Qingwen says he finally realized the meaning of it is more blessed to give than to receive.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Okay.
Meanwhile, using simple English and her body language, Tzu Chi volunteer Luo Meizhu tries her best to communicate with the locals. Knowing that Tzu Chi volunteers are in need of volunteers, many youngsters happily reach out their helping hands.
We need water to wash clothes, cook meals, and many things. These 5 boys over here have been fetching the water for us.
In fact, these 5 boys are also Typhoon Haiyan survivors. In the aftermath of the tragedy, all of them have joined the Cash Forward program launched by the Tzu Chi Philippines chapter.
He is very sweet and thoughtful. He comes with us to purchase grocery and helps me carry the food.
Through joining the Cash for Work program, I have learned to work with others. Now I know that I have to cherish everything I have and don't waste money.
Over the years, 62-year-old Luo Meizhu has joined countless international relief work held by the Buddhist NGO. In the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan, Luo immediately traveled to the disaster zone in the Philippines to help. Despite the language barrier, Luo insists on carrying out home visitations. Today, she is visiting the homes of the 5 boys that have been helping her for the past few days.
If I didn't visit their families, I wouldn't know that their homes were also severely damaged by the typhoon.
After the home visitation, Luo encounters 2 children selling toast along the street. Although Luo Meizhu wants to purchase the toast to help, she did not have any peso in hand. Thankfully, Gennaro decided to help.
I will pay this for you. You have very much money.
Upon receiving this special gift from Gennaro, Luo Meizhu can't help but smile as she knows that the seeds of love has started to flourish in Gennaro's heart. Following the devastating Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers from home and abroad conducted numerous aid distributions and free clinics to help needy survivors. Next, we meet 2 local doctors to learn their compassion towards their fellow citizens.
This is a 75-year-old pediatrician from Cebu. Despite his age, he still did his best to help needy patients at Tzu Chi's free clinics. Following the 2-day free clinic in Tacloban, he immediately joined Tzu Chi volunteers in the aid distributions in Tunga. In total, he took part in 5 free clinics.
Very happy to give treatment to treat the people. It's a sort of a highlight in our life that we can help them.
He is very kind and compassionate and always puts a smile on his face. Kids all love him.
Also helping her fellow citizens is Dr. Chen Meimei, who was a Typhoon Haiyan survivor too and fled to Manila with her family. However, upon learning that Tzu Chi was providing free medical services to her fellow people in Tacloban, Dr. Chen returned to the disaster zone to join in the volunteer ranks.
They need a lot of help, and as Tacloban people also, we want to come back and be a blessing to these people in this place. Therefore, we decided to come back, even for just a few days, to be of help.
Despite difficult situations and limited resources, 38 TIMA members from Taiwan, the Philippines, and Malaysia, against all odds, registered to help at Tzu Chi's free clinics to help the less fortunate get back on their feet as soon as possible.
Only 6 days after Typhoon Haiyan ravaged the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers can already be seen serving the hard-hit areas. Many senior international relief veterans in the group, such as Luo Meizhu and Chen Jinghai, said this was one of the most heartbreaking experiences for them.
Overcoming heaps of debris, Tzu Chi volunteers inched their way towards a village located in the Filipino city of Tacloban. Tzu Chi volunteer Luo Meizhu has traveled this path many times already. She insists on bringing along her fellow medical volunteers this time to help the victims of Typhoon Haiyan. A seasoned veteran of Tzu Chi's international relief mission, Luo says this is the hardest assignment for her. From participating in the initial survey team to the current 3rd relief mission for nearly a month now, Luo simply cannot pull herself away.
When we first arrived, there were no peddlers on the streets. Now that we have cleaned up some areas, they have all came out. We bought some vegetables from them. Though they have just set up shop, we cleaned out their inventory. They were so happy, they just couldn't believe it. Because we recycle, so we know how to teach them to sort through the debris and to pick up the metal parts and wood, which can be reused in rebuilding. So if you look around, you can see that they have been rebuilding.
Keeping the storm victims company from dawn to dusk as they rebuild from scratch, Luo stands in the rain as she hands out cash aid as part of Tzu Chi's Cash for Work program.
Life is really hard for them. They stand in the rain to clean up and rebuild. Their efforts brings me to tears.
Emphasizing with the suffering around the world, Tzu Chi volunteers selflessly go where they are needed and give themselves, asking for nothing in return. Nearly 60 years old, Chen Jinghai is also a seasoned veteran of Tzu Chi's international relief mission. As always, he brings along a notebook and begins recording on the first page.
I'm getting a little bit older now and can't memorize as many things as I used to, so I have to take notes in order to share my experience with others. Time management is very important, as there will be less waste that way.
Chen is always wondering how he can better serve those in need and what else he can do.
We must pay attention and carefully observe those who are suffering. At the same time, we must remain calm and focused to objectively assess the circumstances.
However, it is difficult to be calm in the face of so much suffering. Media volunteer Zhuang Huizhen has taken nearly 4,000 pictures in 9 days. Each photo is taken with tears.
I am grateful to witness the suffering exemplified here. The lesson helps strengthen my bodhisattva path.
Though Zhuang wishes to share the typhoon victims' hardship, her physical condition simply won't allow it.
In the face of such catastrophe, they can only sit in their torn-apart home. How can they ever find hope again?
Though Zhuang has since returned home, her heart has remained in the Philippines. Tzu Chi volunteers care because they truly feel as one with those who suffer.
World AIDS Day, observed on December 1st every year, is dedicated to raising awareness of the AIDS pandemic. And in South Africa, Durban City volunteers have long cared for HIV/AIDS patients and orphans. Although these Zulu volunteers may not have received much education during their lifetime, they're nevertheless more willing to reach out to those HIV/AIDS patients than most are.
Despite the rain, this is a journey they must continue. The clamor inside the house, believe it or not, is because of AIDS. This team of Tiji volunteers often comes across AIDS patients like Bajabulile Nwasa during their home visitations. Dressed in a white robe, Tiji volunteer Nomusa Lutuli, who is also a pastor, knows how to console and bring comfort to the sick and suffering. Volunteers first take the necessary safety precautions before they get to work, boiling hot water to give Bajabulile a bath. Among the volunteers are also those who are HIV/AIDS sufferers themselves. Kinsile was also once a recipient of Tiji's care. Once her condition became more stabilized, she decided to follow in the volunteers' footsteps.
No, from then, that's why I decided to join that sushi company or Sushi Foundation. I don't have any problem so far to the other patients because I used to tell them that even myself I'm affected. So that's why I found it is easier to help them because I used to tell them that I'm still okay.
The population of South Africa represents 0.73% of the world's total population, yet those infected with HIV/AIDS accounts for 70% of total cases worldwide. In other words, 1 in every 10 South Africans is a carrier of HIV. And yet, when it comes to AIDS research and prevention, the South African government lacks a concrete strategy. Since 2001, a group of predominantly Zulu Tiji volunteers began caring for HIV/AIDS patients and orphans. Their care has extended from home visitations to providing hot meals. Today, there are 1,200 HIV/AIDS patients and 7,500 orphans whom the Zulu volunteers have taken under their wings. The volunteers play the role of a mother as well as that of a friend. Nkosi Johnson was a South African child diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. When Nkosi was 8, a school refused to accept him as a student because of his HIV-positive status. Nkosi passed away at the age of 12, and at the time of his death, he was the longest surviving HIV-positive born child. And in the words of Nkosi Johnson,
we go to Malaysia at the end of the show. Tiji Malaysia chapter recently held the 4th TIMA training seminar and was joined by some 130 medical personnel. During the seminar, trainees gained a better understanding of Tiji's medical humanity. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.